Hello, YouTube. How's it going? First off, thanks for all the support. Taking a couple of weeks off everything and just, playing games for fun and just trying to keep my mind off everything that happened was actually the best thing. So I do want to thank everyone who showed, kind words towards me and everything. But the game that brought me back, Lord of the Rings Gollum. Like I'm sure all of you have seen the reviews, you've seen the videos, and I'm gonna basically reiterate a lot of the stuff that I experienced, but give my own opinion on it. First off, yeah, I purchased this game. No, I did not finish it, and it was not because I couldn't stand it anymore. It was because it was broken on a fundamental level that I cannot complete the game. Now, I'll put up a picture probably showing that Microsoft denied my refund, which sucks because I'm pretty sure if I got this on Steam, they would give me a refund because here's the thing. Like I usually do story then gameplay then all the other stuff, but I need to address this. Once you get to chapter 8, and this is on the Xbox Series X, I can't speak for PlayStation or PC. If you die at the end of chapter 8, there's a section where you have to avoid some orcs. The game hard crashes. It soft locks itself, and you can't access the chapter anymore, and you have to replay the entire chapter. I got through that while dying, and then I played chapter 9, and the game simply would not load. Literally, just stopped. And because of that, I can't complete the game. Now, I saw the rest of the walkthrough online, and that's what I was going to make this game for, walkthroughs and guides, because that's what I do on this channel mostly. And unfortunately, I can't because, again, I cannot finish the game because it's broken on such a fundamental level that it cannot be completed as of now. So that's why I cannot beat this game. And why Microsoft, I don't know why won't they acknowledge my refund. I get that there's certain policies that they have in place, like for example, if you pre-order a game for some reason, you have 10 days from the pre-order date of the game launching in order to refund it, which I think is complete BS. Why is it that with any other product I buy, if it stops working within a reasonable time, say a week, I can go back to the store and they will exchange it or give me store credit for the product. Even Amazon, one of the king evil companies of the world, do that. But for video games, they get special treatment for some reason. But either way, so let's actually get into the game because that's just been what I've been dealing with. Microsoft, I want my money back. So the story of this game, basically Gollum gets kidnapped and he has to escape his kidnappers. That's the story. The first part, he gets kidnapped by Nazgul and put into a slave pit, has to escape that. Then he gets captured by elves, and then he has to escape the elves. I mean, there are some details like the Elf King knows that he has the One Ring, and instead of like I don't know interrogating the guy, he puts him up in this type of prison system, and it's just like the game is incredibly bloated. From my experience, from what I got into, is only about 8 hours into the game, so I would say this game is about 10 hours, and it's incredibly bloated with its narrative and everything. Like, it's just like it takes all the best parts of Smeagol and just ignores it completely. Like anyone who's seen the movies or knows anything about Lord of the Rings knows that Smeagol is a very complicated character. He's sympathetic, but he's also incredibly dangerous. He was corrupted. His personality was fractured. So there's Gollum, the psychopath killer, and then Smeagol, which is the last part of his like humanity, basically, that's constantly at odds with one another. And they try to convey that through these types of like, I would say, moments of I don't even know. It's like these types of questionnaire moments where they're supposed to have a morality system where you choose to either side with Gollum or Smeagol, and then you do a type of like choice answer system. And if you choose the right thing, then the person you chose will win the argument. But if you choose wrong, then the other person would win. As far as I can tell, this has no effect whatsoever in the overall narrative. It's literally just goes on to the same thing. So, what could have been a really cool concept of exploring this character's fractured personality completely falls through. They also use this default Arial font. It just showcases how lazy these developers are. They took one of the most prominent IPs in the world and butchered it. Like when you get a really big IP like Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, you're going to get an audience from those IPs. That's why people make content with these things because they have a very large fan base and people will buy products related to that fan base. So you already have an established audience. Unfortunately, they just squander it. It's clear that this, as far as I can tell, is just a cash grab. Like they really just didn't really care. Like if they really cared, they would not have sold this game at full price. This game is $50 to $60 depending on what platform you get it on, and they completely remove certain content for the sake of trying to get $10 out of you, like some sort of stupid emote pack and the compendium, which is this type of lore encyclopedia that's default in most games. Like even free to play games like Destiny 2 have these. And for some reason they lock it behind a paywall. I saw it on the line and I was just like, they use the same default Arial font and it crashes the game as well. So I don't know what the hell was going on. Like, it just seems like this was such an amateurly developed game by people who don't know what they're doing. In fact, they put more effort into the After Effects logo from the start of their game. The whole Daedric Entertainment logo has more effort put into it than the actual game. That's just sad. It's just sniffing your own farts. So the narrative falls short. The voice acting is extremely poor. If you put this side by side with Shadow of Mordor or Shadow of War, which set a new standard of what Lord of the Rings fans expect from these games, it's night and day. Like, I get it. This is a small studio. It doesn't have WB levels of money and the experience of Monolith Productions, who made the friggin' Nemesis system. But either way, it's still like, you're selling it at full price. People expect a full-priced, expertly crafted AAA experience. Like, this isn't like a $30 game. If this was a $30 game, even then it would be too expensive. At most, I would have charged $15 for this game. Like, it's bloated, it's uninspired, it has nothing going for it whatsoever. Gollum is a really complicated character and can work with a narrative-driven experience, but the gameplay is where it falls all types of short. So I'll talk into the gameplay a little more, but the story is just, it's crap. It's uninspired. The voice acting is terrible. The characters that are in this game are just, I would say the only saving grace is probably the character Mel. I don't know how, like, she's kind of wishy-washy in the sense that she's imprisoned for her own ideals, but then she uses Smeagol to get, like, she tries to see the goodness in Smeagol, but she also understands this guy is not to be trusted in the same degree. I would say that's the only saving grace of this game, like the relationship between Mel, which is, again, an elf who's imprisoned and blind, so she depends on Smeagol in order to navigate the world. But even then, it's only, like, for cosmetic purposes. She's on an on-rails segment. But for the most part, that's it. So let's talk about the gameplay. Like, Smeagol is not athletic. He's very mobile, but this is a stealth-driven game. Basically, you hide in bushes, which causes your skin to turn completely dark to symbolize that they can't see you. And you use stones, which you can't pick up and walk around with. Like, you have to stand still to throw a stone, and then it distracts the NPC for a few seconds. A few more seconds if you hit a specific item. You could turn off lamps in order to create dark corners. It's just really, really pathetic stealth systems. Like, something that would come out from the original PlayStation eras of game. Like, if you remember Manhunt, it's kind of how that stealth system worked, but Manhunt was still way more fleshed out than, you know, this game. That's basically how I can compare it. It's a lot like Manhunt's stealth system, only if you take out, like, all the atmosphere and all the, like, little details of the enemy NPCs, because none of the NPCs have any personality. The character models look like they were ripped straight from Beyond Good and Evil, which is an insult on Beyond Good and Evil, because that's a terrific game. The orcs, they look so comically bad. I might put up of how the orcs look right now and how the orcs look in this game, because it's just so pathetically bad. And this goes for all the character models. Not a single one of them look good. They're all, like, they look like they could have been taken out of an asset store, and I would believe you. Like, their hair doesn't move or anything. And there's even a quality versus performance mode, and both of them are shit. On top of it, it's like Smeagol's hair is also, like, I don't even know what the hell was going on. There's, like, an option to turn his hair into individual strands. Like, this is a big monumental leap in technology, when freaking Tomb Raider, the rebooted series, already had that. Like, Tomb Raider had that. It's just, like, it's almost like, you know, those essays that you write that you copy off someone else, but then you try to make it your own by mixing and matching words. That's kind of how I feel about this. They took, like, systems and they just try to butter it up, trying to make it, oh yeah, you can have individual hair strains that flow around. But yeah, for combat, basically he just goes around, he goes behind enemies that don't have any type of headwear. This includes helmets and even hats. Like, if an enemy has a hat, I assume they have a hat, you can't strangle them from behind, so you just go behind them, you hold the Y button, and you kill them. That's how that goes. You can't strangle elves, which I guess makes sense because elves are a lot more nimble, so they'll be able to easily just kill him. But so would orcs. Like I get that Smeagol is supposed to be depicted as very strong. It's his strangling technique, but when you're going against something that's 3 times your size and you weigh like half a pound, I would assume Smeagol weighs like maybe 10, 15 pounds. An orc would just literally grab his hands, turn him around, and crack his neck. So that wouldn't work. I get that orcs are not as strong as orcs, but they're still hulking behemoths. So that's your combat system. They have this stupid companion system. Sometimes you'll have companions in the way of this bird that you rarely use. You just use it for 1 or 2 sections, grabbing a key and grabbing some bread to show. They have this very extended tutorial system for the bird, and it goes nowhere. And then you have to guide this really annoying NPC around. And the way the companion system works is that you hit the top button on the controller, and it intends you into this type of mobile mode where you then just dictate where the NPC has to go. It's like these little circles, and they go there and they, do their action. That's it. It's really, really stupid and basic. Just to put into how cringe the death animation during this game, it's basically when you get caught, Smeagol gets picked up by his neck, and then he just they just hit him behind the head or just say some sort of repeated dialogue, and then the game ends like a mobile game. So death carries little consequence other than the checkpoints are really poorly implemented, and it's just really bad. Now the next thing you're going to do is platform, and basically Smeagol has to jump and run across various platforms, and they try to do the smart thing, the people who act smart instead of actually being smart, where they make the environment bleed into the background, meaning you have no idea what you can grab onto and what you cannot. Yeah, some items are clearly indicated with red tape or little white lines, but for the most part you can't really tell. There will be a lot of leaps of fate, and even then that's guessing if Smeagol will even grab onto the item because the platform is so wonky. They tried to do the smart thing where they're bleed it into the environment to make it seem like it's part of it, but at the same time, they create no highlighting system in order to showcase where you should go. Even games like Horizon and Tomb Raider and Assassin's Creed have some sort of system there to show, hey, you can grab onto this, you can grab onto that, so it becomes next to none. You know what you can grab onto. Yes, it's hit and miss for some of these games like Shadow of War and Assassin's Creed, but for the most part, it works a lot of the time. Here, it does not. The acrobatics in this game is just so poor and garbage that they have so many dead ends and looping areas. Like I said, it's almost like they designed the level, but they didn't design the level with the platforming in mind. They designed all the assets. Then they said, okay, now we'll design the platforming path that you go on to. I can see people getting lost a lot. I got lost 2 or 3, maybe 4 times. I was like, where the hell do I go? What the hell's happening? So nothing truly extravagant. The platforming is really dated. I would say GTA 3 Vice City level of platforming when it comes to this stuff. What else can I talk about in terms of gameplay? There are collectibles. And the collectibles is just random junk that Smeagol collects, which could have been a cool system. If Smeagol got some certain items and then he used that into his environment, he got a spoon and maybe used that to jam the handle into someone's eye, or maybe used it to dig into something, it's just a collection of just random junk. Smeagol does have this type of eagle eye vision. It's supposed to show that Smeagol has this heightened sense of idea of where he is, which makes no sense because all the areas he goes into are strange places that he has no knowledge of. So I don't know what the hell this is supposed to be, this type of radar system, but it's there and it allows you to highlight enemies so you can see where they're going. Enemies are stupid. They're nearsighted and they have 2 levels of detection. Yellow is basically they know you're there, but they don't see you. Red is when they see you and they come and see if you're there, and if they grab you, you instantly die. There is a health system, but you can recover it by collecting food and you eat it, and then it recovers some of your health. But for the most part, you'll only use that when you fail platforming challenges and you fall down. There is swimming. Swimming is nothing. Doesn't really matter. It's sometimes there, sometimes it's not. Puzzle segments range between overly simple to just plain idiotic. It's not that you solve these puzzles and you feel smart like Professor Layton or Resident Evil. It's here because they just needed to bloat out the game. Like the puzzles just very require a very specific solution to everything, which you can probably say for most puzzles, but there's no like aha moment. It's just like follow these very strict instructions. And sometimes they'll even implement systems that you have no knowledge of. There's a water puzzle where you have to push barrels around, and you will not know that you have to do this until you test it out. Like the game does a really poor system of teaching you new mechanics, and some of them don't even work. Like sometimes the wall running doesn't work, and yeah, you should expect just to die a lot in this game because of just technical issues. Like there's even an achievement to beat the game while dying, and I'm almost certain they put it there just to annoy the players. I'm certain there are people who've done it. It says less than 0.02% of players have done it, but I can't even beat the game because the game won't load, so I don't even know how anyone was able to complete the game, all things considered, in that type of way. At least with Little Nightmares, if you died, it's on you. In this game, if you died, it's 50-50 whether it's going to be the game or you. But yeah, sometimes you can talk to other NPCs, which offer little to no context. And the other thing is that sometimes there are little games and riddles that you can solve, but these are completely optional. A lot of the achievements are just little optional stuff that really don't matter. And if you try and load into another chapter, yeah, good luck because the game will likely crash on you. So good luck on that. But yeah, it also has this really poor system where if you highlight an option, the command prompt A will remain on that option. Like it's like stuff that was solved back on the SNES days still is here. That's why this game is just so amateurly developed in such a way that you just like question how anyone thought this would go over well. Like, apparently the developer has another Lord of the Rings game in development. If I was the owner of the Lord of the Rings IP, even if they offered me, I don't know, I'm going to be generous, $500 million, which I don't know if they even have that money or even like a 25th of that money, I would still not do it because this is just going to damage your reputation. This is about reputation at this point. It's just that bad. So yeah, puzzles are crap. Stealth is so dated. Combat is, if you could even call it that. The characters are uninspired. The models suck. Like everything about it is just low quality. So what can I say positive about this game? Like I'm trying to think of anything positive to say about this game. I guess the only positive thing I could think of is that occasionally a cool moment might happen where, like, you know what? I don't even feel bad for spoiling the game at this point because, again, I can't even complete this game. So, whatever. I feel like I'm saving someone $60 or $50 at this point. There's a moment where Smeagol wants to not kill Mel, and Gollum wants to kill Mel. And then he has this moment of where he's about to break her neck, and they just like, it doesn't make any sense considering that elves, even if they're blind, have this heightened sense of awareness, so she should be able to sense like he's about to put his hands around her neck. And then you have this type of, I don't know if I discussed this, but the questionnaire, there's this types of morality system where you have to choose between Smeagol and Gollum. And if Smeagol, you get to choose, but then you have to convince the other one by answering a series of questions. And it's so basic. You can tell which one to answer, and it determines whether you choose Smeagol or Gollum's side. And as far as I can tell, like, it doesn't have any impact. It just, has some dialogue changes, but that's it. But yeah, that's the only compelling moment because you can still see that Mel is actually grown attached to Smeagol to a sense because they have been together, they've been dependent on one another, and she does feel genuinely betrayed when she learns that he's actually mad. Like, she thought that he was just talking to himself with Gollum, but she didn't realize there was these types of clashing personalities, and she just runs away from him. That's the only good point of this game. Like, basically, their relationship of where Smeagol actually thinks he's found a friend who won't betray him, and turns out he betrays her. That's the only highlight of this game. Other than that, it's an insult on the Lord of the Rings franchise. And coming off a game like Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, it definitely shoots the franchise down so many pegs. Like, they should not be given a chance for redemption on this game. There's no way fixing it. Like, it's like with Redfall. Even if you take out all the technical issues from the game, it's still a crap game. Like, this game can run perfect. The textures can load in correctly. The character models can look, could not glitch out. Like, it could not crash. Everything could run perfectly. It's still a crap game. no matter how much you polish it up, it's still a golden turd with jewels in it. That's all it is. Like that's even being generous. Like at this point, it's just such a bad game and such an insult that the fact that I bought this game, I'm more insulted that I wasted my time with this than I actually about the money. It's like worse. Like, yeah, I lost my money, but at the same time, Microsoft better give me back my money on this game because this is freaking unacceptable. It should run, but either way, this game is just, it's bad. It's an insult to Lord of the Rings, and it's just a really, really sad experience. Either way, I don't want to talk about this game anymore. I'll probably put up like some walkthroughs of this game just to break even. Maybe I can make back my money in some regard with some of these things. But I'm not like I even edit in videos for this game. I don't want to do. So that's it for me. Like the video if you like it. Dislike it if you dislike it. I don't want to play this game anymore. I don't want to think about it. I better get my money back. That's it for me. Goodbye.